Butch and Bob Show.
World famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. Well, folks, y'all would be mighty proud of Bob. You know, the Bulldogs lost, and the Notre Dame and the Steelers lost to the Ravens, but Bob's got his Georgia hoodie on and his Pittsburgh Steeler cap on. He's still true to his teams.
That's right. Loyal to the core. It was painful Saturday night.
That was painful.
Painful.
That was just agonizing.
Gas for 300 yards on the ground. That's just no excuse. But anyway, we got the mayor of Jesup in here. Got a lot of topics we want to talk about. The city had a meeting last week, had a work session as well. I want us to talk about first this East Jesup Sewer project because we've talked about it several times. A lot of people listening have no idea what the East Jesup Sewer project is or where it's going to be located. It has to do with the industrial park. There was some good news. They act like they have the funding now to go forward with the project. But first of all, talk about what the project is, what the purpose of the project is all about.
Well, good morning, Ralph. Ralph Hickox, our special guest this morning. Go ahead, Ralph. I didn't
always
mean
be good to be on the Butch and Bob Show.
Okay.
Yeah, the East Jesup project. We have some aged infrastructure, and you just don't put down the sewer lines. They last forever. They stay about 20 years, but the east side of Jesup, some of our oldest lines, and some of it's undersized. And it was kind of two things. One is it's aged from that side of town, and the other is that's how we plan on feeding the new industrial park. So it was desperately needed to upgrade that for both reasons. And so we got a grant through the ARPA grant back in 2020, and to help us pay for the improvements that we needed. So it was going to pay for a replacement of the lines, and it would help feed the industrial park. But the problem was inflation. Everybody knows how hyperinflation has been the last 4 years. Well, we had got $6.5 million from state, and then Jesup put up another almost $2 million, and I think it was $500,000 of in-kind work that the county put in. So it came to around $9 million total that was there. The problem is, because of inflation, the bids came back at almost $25 million.
You got to be kidding me.
No.
Now, there's inflation, but that's inflation on steroids right there.
Yeah, and I mean, so we were looking at having to get a GIFA loan and strap the citizens of Jesup with about $14 million, $15 million above what the grants were, and we just couldn't do it. So we sat down. Kudos to our city employees and the engineers that worked with us. We had to find a different route, and Patrick Martin and Mike Deal and Anthony Crawford and myself and Nick, and we all got together, Bill Schumann, and we started looking at what we could do different. And so we were able to, well, there was some things, first of all, like to hold the prices on all this piping, they wanted 15% just to hold it for 90 days, the pricing. That was almost $2.5 million right there. Well, we cut that out. We'll buy that in advance if we need to. There was a lot of stuff, but we done some rerouting, some stuff, and we were able, after doing all the things we did, the price will be gone down from $25 million to about $10.8. So we have in between the money we had plus I went to Buddy Carter and asked him if they could help us with this because it is a need. Without you asked what it's about. Without this, you got the industrial part that we spent all this money to try to help grow Wayne County with, and it's been a joint effort with Wayne County and the city of Jesup. Without that, it's just a plot of dirt, and it's not going to bring in jobs because you have to have these utilities. Our utilities that we provide is critical to the growth of that industrial park. And so Buddy Carter was able to get us $2 million to add to it. So with the money that he got us from Congress and what we already had in the form of a grant and what we put in the city of Jesup, we have about $10.8 million available, which is what we're expecting to come in out. Now, that don't do the section into the park itself. We'll have to find another, but we are putting in grants for that too. We're going to make it happen. But the people working together saved the city of Jesup a lot of money by doing this. So it's good stuff.
And they're going to bid it out early February. Is that correct? The bids will go back out?
Right. We've already approved to allow them to bid it out. And we'll see exactly what's going to be. But we're expecting it to come in on target. And that's really, really good news.
How soon do you think that project will begin?
Has to be done by October of 26. So, I mean, as soon as probably within 6 months, I mean, we're ready for it.
Other than providing sewer and water to the new industrial park, does it do anything else for the citizens of Jesup?
Oh, yeah, the entire east side. I mean, you got basically three main
I knew
lines.
the east side needed that, but it's kind of a dual function there. Provide the citizens of the east side of Jesup sewer and water, better better than infrastructure than they have right now, and then the industrial park.
Well, you got to realize that 20% of the entire flow of Jesup is the federal prison, and that's on the East Jesup side.
20%?
Yeah.
They use a lot of sewer and water out there, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They flush a lot of toilets out of the prison. But yeah, 20% of the flow is there, and that's on that line.
Okay.
So that was critical, to get that part done too. But there's a lot of people live on the east side of Jesup.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of folks on that side.
All the water and sewer comes 3 main trunk lines. There's one down Macon, which is on the opposite side, which is on the west side of the tracks. Then all the rest of it goes down the east side, and then you got some that goes out towards the Walmart area, the west side of Jesup.
So providing the citizens on the east side and the prison, and providing up to the new industrial park.
Yeah.
Then once something's starting getting built out there, then we'll have to expand it on into the park, right?
Well, if you can visualize it, the railroad track, you're talking about everything on the Jesup side of the railroad track is fed through that line.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of flow.
It is a lot of flow.
And we had, like I said, I give a lot of credit to our departments. They found all kind of things that were able to save us money. Jesup's got some good employees. I'm really proud of what they did.
Again, if you're just joining us in the studio with us, it's just Mayor Ralph Hickox. The other item that was discussed, it was discussed at a work session, they're going to vote on at the next city council meeting, is the improved radio communication system. You heard the presentation at the work session, expect to be voted on at the next city council meeting. You, Commissioner Cockfield, and Commissioner Bill Harvey made it clear that you feel that the county should be picking up the expenses for the system. So just talk about that and about the system, how important it is. This came to light during the hurricane, when both the county and the city realized that their communication system is outdated. You had emergency personnel not able to be in communication with each other during the hurricane, which was a big issue. Mm-hmm. So it's been addressed. The county's put in the system. They've approved it, but they want the city to pick up their part that they feel should be paid, which is about $160,000, where I understand it, $130,000 for the tower and equipment, but you have to buy the radio equipment as well. So first of all, talk about your stance, you and Mr. Cockfield, Mr. Harvey feel that the county should be paying for this because, as it was stated at the work session, sometimes the county forgets that the city of Jesup is county residents as well. It's the old argument, double taxation. I remember Gary Priester years ago as a city commissioner used to talk about it all the time. Don't double tax us. We're part of the county as well. So talk about that first, and then we'll talk about the communication system.
If you don't mind, Bob, I'd like to go about why we need it, because I got some information on why we do. And then I've got plenty to tell you who owes. I got contracts to show you exactly who owes the money. You hit on the head about the hurricane. During the hurricane, it really came out. But this has been a problem further back. Our police have been telling us about it. The fire's been telling us about it. I think anybody involved with 911 knows that there's been this analog system we've had is it's spotty. You got to realize if a transformer can cause it to not be picked up, a building can cause it, can interfere with the signal to be picked up. The digital is a lot cleaner, and that's why we need to go that. But when we had Hurricane Helene come through, I remember I was at the 911 center because we'd have our meetings there after the hurricane. I seen the Wayne County road supervisor. They did a terrific job. All our road people did a great job. But he was there, and he had his equipment scattered all over the county, ready to go, but he could not contact them. There was no communication. The cell phones were basically a paperweight. Our system was spotty at very best at getting through to them. Jesup weren't quite as bad a situation because we was closer, and we could probably go find them. But, what's he going to do, drive to Mount Pleasant to go find to tell his tractors to go do something? So that was a major issue during the hurricane. We realized that it had to be addressed, but there's other reasons we need it. We have joint task force between the city of Jesup and Wayne County that they're going to raid for drugs or different missions they go on. They have to be able to communicate between each other. So it's important they can do that. Also, you got to understand that every child in Wayne County is educated in a municipal government's area. Besides Odom and Scriven, every other child in Wayne County is educated and comes every day to Jesup. So while they're in Jesup, they're under the services of our fire. Then we have school resource officers out there that the city and the county both do. If you had God forbid, a shooting or even any kind of emergency out there, to know that our police can't communicate with each other or very well with dispatch that's a big deal. The schools alone is the reason that you need to have this. The police, the most vulnerable time for our police officers is when they're doing a traffic stop. We have many occasions. Chief was there the other day. Chief Hamilton was there the other day with audio to show where his officers would be on a traffic stop and absolutely couldn't hear. The fire. And I brought on, I hope you don't mind play recording, and I got a letter from Chief Huffman. We had a situation last week at Palm Street. We had a fire. And on Palm Street. We had a fire.
Street, okay.
And we had a fire, and there's a firefighter in the structure fighting the fire. He's inside the burning building. And the chief is outside. You know, he has to be outside where he can watch the whole thing, and he'll maneuver resources. But he has to be able to talk to them. And they couldn't talk. They couldn't communicate. So you got a guy fighting the fire inside the fire, and they're less than a half mile from the 911 center. So this letter's from our chief, and I'd like to read it if you don't mind.
This is from the fire chief of the city of Jesup,
yes,
Chief Huffman. Okay.
Yes, attached is an audio file that was played at the work session Tuesday. The traffic is from one of our firefighters on the inside of a structure while fighting fire, trying to talk to me outside. The fire was on North Palm Street, less than a half a mile from the 911 center. The current radio system that's in place has been in need of updating for years. It is a VHF analog system. The new system will be digital and overlapping coverage with more sites. All sites will be able to transmit instead of just a couple towers. Radio communication for firefighters on the fire ground is crucial because it allows us to maintain constant real-time communication in rapidly changing and often dangerous situations. It enables immediate alerts about hazards, changing fire conditions, and the need for assistance, allowing firefighters to react quickly and avoid dangerous situations. Command personnel may have a better vantage point than those working inside the fire and need to be able to communicate these hazards immediately. Coordination between the incident command and multiple crew is hampered in the current system. When firefighters are in need of assistance, radio traffic is not transmitted or readable, these missed messages may contribute to firefighter fatalities. Radio communication is the lifeline for those responders who put their lives on the line every day. Reliable communication is vital every time, everywhere. That's from Josh Huffman, our fire chief. So I want to play this little audio clip. And what you're going to hear right to begin with, you're going to hear the firefighter who's inside. You got to realize he's inside, geared up, a burning building. And he's trying to reach his Chief Huffman outside for assistance. And all the clicking, you'll hear Chief ask him to go ahead, and you'll hear him. I said he can't hear him. But what I want you to notice is the clicking sounds you're hearing. That's him trying to talk, and you can't hear anything. So I'm going to play this. And
the fireman inside, the chief cannot hear is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
The first one is,
here's the audio.
Him. Let me ask y'all, could you make anything out?
Now, what is causing that interference when he's just right outside the burning building there? I mean,
with analog, it doesn't penetrate walls real well.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can interfere with. The digital has a lot cleaner.
How in the world have they worked with this for so many years?
Well, put yourself, if you was the guy in the fire and you needed help,
mm-hmm.
or if you was his a supervisor and you was outside and you seen a hazard and you're trying to contact with your guy inside, is that a safety issue?
Of course it is. But I'm just wondering how in the world they've lived with it for so many years. With all the, we've had burning structures every year for
they've been
years.
dealing with the same thing.
It's been dealing with, of course, they've mentioned it to the council and through the years, and sometimes it takes an emergency situation like the hurricane in order for something to get done. We see this in so many instances.
Right. So the question was, do we need it? I hope that makes it clear that we do need it between the schools and between our task force working together and what our firefighters are going. You got to realize our firefighters, that's a half mile from the 911 center. Our firefighters are going all the way out to Caveville and anywhere in the county. They're fighting fires out there in the county. If it's that bad half mile, what's it like when you get out to Mount Pleasant?
So what's the next step on getting this problem corrected?
Well, let me move on with that. So you asked what we need. So what we need is we needed a digital system, as he mentioned, that was overlapping repeaters So you have multiple different stations or towers able to do it. The county did hire a contractor. I understand the price of install was $160,000 to $170,000. The city was not involved in that contracting process, nor should it have been, because that's not the responsibility of the county. I mean, of the city. That's the county's responsibility to provide that network, which is what we were just talking about. But we weren't involved with anything to do with that. But County Administrator Mr. Paul Drawdy, he did come to the city, to our city hall. He met with myself, Commissioner Mike Deal, Commissioner Tim Cotfield, City Manager Mr. Nick Ellis, and both chiefs, Chief Huffman and Chief Hamilton, both were there. So he came in, and basically what he told us was that the county wanted us to pay basically 20% or $137,000 plus. So the $137,000 is for the network. The $30,000 more that makes it $160,000 is our personal equipment, which we should pay for. We should pay for our own radios. That's our own equipment. But the network is what they're wanting us to pay on as well.
The installation of a new tower.
Yes. And basically he let us know, you ain't got to do it, but if you don't do it, you're not going to be able to be hooked to our system, which means that if we don't pay this amount of money, we're not going to be able to communicate with the sheriff's office. They're not going to be able to communicate with our firefighters, our police. So they won't be able to communicate without changing channels anyway. So we cannot pay for it at what they're demanding, but then we won't have this service at all, not our availability. That's what we were told. So the question you're asking, who's responsibility for it? Okay, if you don't mind, I'm going to back us up a little bit here, because I'm not going to say, well, I think they should pay for it or what's fair. Let's go by the paper, what's by the contract. So pre-1992, and it's the reason I'm going back to here. Pre-1992, basically the city and the county had their own dispatch system. At that time, Jesup dispatched their people. Wayne County dispatched their sheriff's offices people. We had our own fire department, just like we do now. They had volunteers. We'd go out into the county and fight a fire. If we did, we were able to charge them for it because it's our services. So that's the way it worked. If we did go out, you could bill them for it. The state came out with what's called the service delivery strategy. It's a mandate from the state that to save citizens from paying for services twice, anywhere where there was two different providers offering service, they were required to figure out a way to streamline that and only one provide to save citizens money. So if the city was providing the service and the county, they had to work something out in this thing they do every 10 years where we do these service delivery strategy. We had to work it out to where only one pays for it. And you would do a lot of trading when you did that. Now, in fact, I was involved in the one in 2020. Okay, we'll do this, y'all do that. And it kind of bounces. You balance it like money, like so much money in each stack. So if I'm doing this, you're doing that kind of thing. And that's the way it started. So in '92, the agreement was that the city of Jesup would take over 911. The county and the city agreed that they would levy a fee on all landlines and cell phones, which there weren't many cell phones back then. Y'all, and I'm sure y'all aware, on your phone bill you have a 911 fee, right? Well, the city of Jesup got that. We would still go out and fight fires and charge them if we did go out. And the way it was set up is the county could audit us. We had to maintain so many people. We had to maintain the system. We had Luther Hires run at the time. If they wanted to audit us, they could audit us. If the money that we received from the phones was not enough, the county would have to pay half of it. That was how it was worked out. So, this is the contract from '92. You're welcome to look at it. And that's what that spells out. In 1996, they done what they called a swap contract. And that's what it says in there, swap contract. And it was where we were swapping those services. At that time, the county wanted to take over it. So we agreed, and it was a whole deal. We even traded Herschel Hires to them. Not Herschel.
Which county? You talking about the chairman of the county commission?
No. The I'm sorry, not Herschel Hires. Forgive me, Herschel. The police officer used to run the. Oh my goodness! Forgive me. They used to run the 911 center for the city of Jesup. I'll remember in a minute. Anyway, we even discussed trading him. It discussed all the employees going over from us to them. But the county in '96 was going to take over that, and the swap was this: they would get the money from the phones to pay for it, and any difference to maintain the system rather than the 50-50 split, would be made up by the fact we would no longer charge for any going out into the county for fires. We would provide fire protection out into the county with mutual aid such as we could send. No different than if you called Glenn County, they come over, would they send what they can send. We've been doing this for 32 years. Jesup's been honoring that SDS for 32 years, where we'd send out whatever we had into the county to fight fire. And that was the trade. It was the fire out into the county was the trade, along with the 911 fees off the phones. That was their compensation for providing the 911 system. Here's the contract for that. In 2000, that we done again, every 10 years you do an SDS, a contract. This is a copy of the 911 contract from 2000. You have to check off who is the single source provider of that service. It clearly says Wayne County is the 911 provider. And it goes on here, general fund. So how's it funded is the next method here. The way it's funded is from the general fund and from the phone fees, and it specifically says the swap out contract for fire protection with the city of Jesup. This was issued in August 5th of 1999, signed by Miss Nancy Jones as the county administrator and Mike Deal as the city manager. Take a look at what I'm saying there. You'll see it's called a swap out, and you'll see the responsibility right there of who's supposed to pay for that. This 2010 contract said the same thing. This is 2020, the latest SDS that we're currently working under. So E911 service will be provided. I'm reading it verbatim. Service will be provided countywide by a single service provider identified by the check in the box here, and it is Wayne County. That's who's supposed to provide this. On the next page, how will it be paid for? Through general fund, the county's general fund, and through the phone fees collected. Now it goes on down here under specifics. It says the service is provided and funded countywide by Wayne County. E911 also handles non-emergent dispatching, municipal police, fire, ambulance, and the sheriff's department. 911 is not just a building with a bunch of people in it. 911 is a system. It includes those towers. And it specifically says here, the municipal police, fire, ambulance, sheriff's office, and responsibility is Wayne County. There's that contract. I'm going to mention one more contract before I go into the rest of this. There's another contract we talked about. You hear us talking about the fire contract in 22 between us and the county. That really, for all purposes, is an insurance contract. The SDS calls for us to give mutual aid with such as we have out into the county. We have been doing that for 32 years. We will continue doing that under the SDS no matter what. But the people that live outside the city limits up to 5 miles out enjoy our ISO rating for their insurance. So this contract really was in 22 was about insurance. Basically, the insurance people come down and said that if we didn't, if we didn't guarantee there'd be a certain number of people respond to a fire, that they would not be able to use our ISO rating out the 5 miles out. Now, it doesn't affect somebody like that where you live. It only people in 5 miles of the city of Jesup. So that's all that contract was about. And we're upside down. The city of Jesup is upside down this contract by nearly $200,000 a year. So we're basically supplementing insurance coverage out into the county right now. And I don't know if we can continue to ask the citizens of the city of Jesup to do that. So to make it clear, who's responsible for the E911? It's really clear. You can read those contracts. The county government's responsible for them. Absolutely, without a doubt. It's not a matter of opinion. But I want to go on and mention it says the phone fees, and it says general fund. And I want to talk about that a second. Who pays the phone fees? The phone fees are paid by 30,000 people that live in the entire Wayne County, both cities of Jesup and in Wayne County. We all are paying for that. We're paying for E911. We all are. General funds, Wayne County General Fund. Who contributes and pays into the general fund of Wayne County? I'm Ralph Hickox. I am a citizen of the city of Jesup. I pay city taxes. For those city taxes, I'm paying for enhanced services. I'm paying for extra police. I got a right to the sheriff's coming to my house. I got extra police I'm paying for. I'm paying for a fire department. I'm paying for the city to have a road department. I'm paying for city parks. I'm paying for extra services. That's what a municipality is. It is a enhanced tax district is what it is. You're paying for extra services. But we also pay county tax. Every citizen in the city of Jesup pays county taxes. I pay exactly the same millage rate. I pay exactly the same millage rate as a citizen of the city of Jesup. Ralph Hickox pays the same millage rate, as does County Commissioner Chairman Kevin McCrary. I contribute to the county government on the same level as he does, as the same as Boot Thomas, as the same as Mr. Randy Franks, Tim Hopkins, every one of them. I missed one. So we all contribute to county government equally, and that, which means I'm entitled to every service that they provide to any other citizen. The citizens of the city of Jesup pay for that. So when we say it's paid for, the 911 is paid for out of the general fund and our phone service, the citizens of the city of Jesup are paying their share. To say they're not paying their share, they need to pay their share, beyond the contract, forget the contract for a minute. Every citizen is paying their share. I pay county taxes. I pay a bunch of county taxes. And I'm entitled for services for that. So why am I going to have to... So explain this to me. If I'm paying that, how are they going to come to me and tell me I got to pay more money when, first of all, contractually, they have accepted the responsibility to fully pay for it out of county funds and out of those phone funds? They're contractually obligated to pay for that. They get funding for it. They get the phone fees for it. But yet they want us to take city money that we pay for enhanced services to help contribute towards when it's already been paid for. That don't make any sense at all.
So it brings me back to my original question. Like I said, you and Commissioner Harvey and Commissioner Caulfield feel that they should be picking up the expenses, but the city says that they're going to vote on this at their next city council meeting and pretty much approve it because it's needed for the officers. But as Tim Caulfield mentioned, he'll have to hold his nose while he votes for it. So is there been, and I asked the question at the work session, has there any been discussions between the county and the city? And you mentioned that there was.
Yeah, they came. Forgive me, Bob, it's not a matter of feel.
They basically came and said you have to pay your share. So y'all feel that you're already paying for it. So how do you think the vote's going to go when you all meet?
Forgive me, but I want to take emotions out of this. It's not a matter of feel. Feel is an emotion. It's fact. That's why I brought the contracts in. You're looking at them right there. I'm not just telling you. You've looked at every contract they've handed you, right? Who does it say is responsible to pay for E911?
Yeah, it says Wayne County.
It says Wayne County.
Right.
That's exactly who. And when you flip that page and it says on there how they're supposed to pay for it, it says through general fund of Wayne County, and it says, I mean, that's not a feeling. That's the contract. That's what it says.
Is Jesup receiving any enhanced services from this with the money they're putting in versus the other citizens of Wayne County, other than the citizens of Wayne County that live in Jesup? What I'm saying is the citizens of Wayne County that live in the city limits of Jesup, if they're having to, y'all going to have to vote on this to pay for a part of it, are y'all receiving, the citizens of Jesup, are they receiving any enhanced services from this new communication systems versus what the other citizens of Wayne County are receiving?
No, we all get dispatch. If someone has an emergency,
it's equal service across the board, no matter where you live in Wayne County.
It doesn't matter where you live. We're not getting anything special in the city of Jesup with this. In fact, if we don't pay this fleecing fee, which is what it is, if we don't pay it, we won't have that. So every other citizen in Wayne County will have that, and we will not have that.
The citizens that live in the city limits.
Yes, we will not
won't have that.
We will not have that.
Okay.
But where that affects everybody in the county is you got to remember. Remember what I said earlier. Your children all come to Jesup every day, and in our schools, and so are they really willing to do that? Now, so it's not a matter of feeling. It's their responsibility. And I came on because you asked me to come. I didn't come on to try to stir no pot. I came on. You asked me to explain it. I've told you I never would say no to you, and I've always done that. So I'm here to explain. And this is not feeling. This is the concrete. What do you say? You say what's going to happen? I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. This is going to be a vote. But I'm going to tell you, there's no way in any circumstance I can foresee that my board, the Jesup City Commission, is going to leave its officers and leave its firefighters in peril regardless of what the county commission does. Yeah, we're going to pass it. We're going to pass it. We're going to do what we have to do because we're not going to let our officers be in these unsafe situations anymore. And we're not going to leave our children unprotected. So we're going to do it. Now, what we may have to do is relook at some of these other contracts, because some of these other contracts we're upside down in, and it makes no sense for us to continue. How do we keep we have a fiduciary responsibility to the people that elect us to be wise with their money, and for us to take around and double pay for something, we can't do that with their money. So we may have to look at some other contracts, and the ones that don't make sense, we may have to exit out of those contracts.
Again, there was no argument that the system is needed. As
Oh,
you
yeah.
said, you want
No
to protect
doubt.
the officers. So, like I said, it just came down to question who's funding it. You and Commissioner Harvey and Commissioner Caulfield believe the county should be paying for it, but they said they're not paying for the portion for the fifth tower. They want the city to pay for it. So, again, that's coming up to a vote. I just want somebody to come explain where we're at and, why you feel like you do. You both have attorneys. Why you have contracts. Why aren't the attorneys involved in saying, look, here's the contract. Y'all are supposed to provide the service?
Bob, we really don't want to fight. I mean, I don't want to fight with the county. We've stayed quiet on a lot of stuff. You haven't heard me in here. This PLOST agreement just did not get a good end of the deal on that. To say population is the only fair way to do it, are we really providing population level services? I mean, we just went through the things that we're doing. If there's a fire in Madre Springs, Jesup Fire Department, which is paid for by the citizens of Jesup, is going out there. If there is an emergency, there was a murder out in Mount Pleasant about a year ago. Jesup PD went out there to assist. We're providing a greater than the fire department. This contract that we have here and the SDS, it requires us to go out for mutual aid for structure fires. 30% of the calls we go outside the city limits for are medical related. That has nothing to do with anything that who's paying for that? It's the citizens of the city of Jesup. So, but so what I'm saying is there's a lot of things that we may not feel like is exactly right, but we're trying very hard to be cooperative, and that's why we didn't make this big issue about. But we coming down this one here, and they're telling us that we got to pay this, or they're going to cut us off from the service that we already are paying for, and that they're being contractually compensated for. Are we going to pay for it? Yep, we probably will. I expect that vote.
When will that vote take place?
Next meeting, which is next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. So it'll be voted on, and then so y'all don't want to vote that way, but you are going to vote that way because you don't want the citizens to not be serviced. So
and the safety of our officers.
Yeah, and the citizens and the officers and so forth, fire department, the whole thing with the new communication systems. So when will the project get started?
Immediately. I mean, the contract county done. You got to understand. That's what I'm saying. We weren't even brought into the loop on this, and we shouldn't have been, because it's the reason I carried you all back in '92 is we had the system originally, and we were contractually obligated to do this. When we traded it to the county in that swap contract, we actually gave them not just our personnel, we actually gave them our equipment too. So they got the dispatch equipment that the city of Jesup owned. We surrendered to them as part of that swap agreement. So it weren't just a building with people in it talking. 911 is not just a building with a bunch of people talking in it. It has to have a system. This system we're talking about is what they want us to pay for. Right. So they're being compensated for providing the system.
Did they give reasons for this?
They just think that we need to pay our share.
All right, that's just what it comes down to.
Some of them have the idea that the city of Jesup and the county, and Odom and Scribner for that matter, we're like different countries. It's not. Every person, all 30,000 people are Wayne Countyans first. We each one, when you live in a city, you pay for enhanced services, extra services. But we're all Wayne Countyans. We all pay the same millage rate. We all are under the sheriff. We all have the same, judge by. We help pay for. We all pay for the jail. We're all Wayne Countyans, and I think they forget that.
I wish we had somebody from the county sitting here to ask them their thoughts on this and why they ask y'all.
We had a contract meeting with them about a year ago. It was recorded. I have the whole thing on recording, so you can hear how it went. You had Mike Dillon there, Tim Cockfield, myself, Pam Schumann. On our side, Paul was on their side. Of course, our administrators were there. You had Kevin McCurry and Mike Gordon. We went through the contracts. They had no answer for it. And I just finally asked Commissioner Gordon, what is it y'all want? Well, we just want whatever we can get, pretty much is what he said. It was pretty clear that the city's following the contracts on it. If anything, we're going above and beyond the contracts.
That's what Bob and I always say on the show. It's always about the what, Bob?
The money.
The money.
But if you don't understand the contracts and you think, well, this sounds fair to me, regardless of what you think, you don't always know what someone traded for something back in 1992. And that's why I brought the contract. What did they trade? What was the trade? Why is the county responsible 100% for 911 besides the fact we're all county citizens? Because it was a swap in which they got the fees and that we agreed to send our firefighters at mutual aid with no cost out into the county. That was this. If you look at the flip back to the SDS before that, go to the one right before now. Yeah, flip the page on that one right there, and you'll see it says swap agreement. You see where it says swap contract?
Swap by contract.
Yeah,
right.
And that's under compensation.
All right. Well, one point was made. I guess the person we need to talk to and get on the show is, they mentioned at the work session, the county does have 2 representatives who represent the cities at Jesup. Big Thomas is
right.
one, and Randy Frank's just got on the other. And it's probably unfair to Randy. He just got
involved in all this.
But Boot's been there for quite some time, so it'd be good to get him on here because, like I said, that was the question by the city commissioners. Why aren't the 2 representatives of the city fighting for the city?
Boot signed 2 of those contracts you got in front of you right there.
Right.
He's on 2 of them.
Right. So, but he'd be a good person to talk to.
It would be.
Yeah,
because there's always different sides to it.
There's always 2 sides of the story, but
sometimes more. And so it'd be interesting to hear on that. But for the citizens of Wayne County, for the firefighters, for the first responders, for the police, City of Jesup's going to do like Tim says, going to hold his nose, vote yes, and then the system's going to go forward. Now, will y'all have more input on what's going to be done since you're going to be putting money in?
Nope. There's 2 sides to every story, but that's why you put it in writing. There's only one side to writing, and that one side is very clear who pays for it.
Before you go, I know we're getting in. I want you to update the CSX issue. They're working on cleaning that up?
This sometimes I am not the best at communicating with my employees, and I had a guy with the military one time said, you got to make a poop sandwich out of it. You got to have a good piece of white bread. You put the bad stuff in the middle, and then you end it with something good. That's what we're doing here, isn't it?
We
start with now we're going on something I like.
Start positive, poop, and now we're going to stop. We're going to end positive. Tell us what's going on with CSX, Mayor.
I like that. We're making a sandwich.
Let's end on a good note.
It's just a good story.
Kind of like they do on ABC, CBS, and NBC News. They go through all that negativity, and then at the end, they end that positive story at the end. So let's end with the positive story.
Because that's my favorite thing, talking about the CSX deal. They're if you go by right now, they're cleaning up that lot. It was a long 9 months of negotiating with them, and that was, oh my gosh, challenging. That was from my part. David Earl has spent his whole term as mayor trying to negotiate with them, but so we've got Georgia Power has donated $20,000 towards us this project. We have some other grants we're working on, but we basically got the land. We acquired the land in the trade from the overpass on both sides of the track all the way down to Orange Street. So that we're going to start with that. That's right across from Union Brewery. Right, that's where we're going to start right there where that lay down yard was there. You see, they're cleaning it. He told me to call him actually today, and I say the guy with CSX, and he would give me a soft date on when they'd actually turn it over to us because they got a big magnet. And they got to get out there to snatch all the stuff out the ground and all the.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, and so they're going to be doing that, and then when he'll tell me when the magnet's been tore up, and he'll tell me when he thinks that they're going to have that ready.
How do you tear up a magnet?
I don't know, but that's what he said. But we're going to be getting the property. We're going to take about 6 inches of soil out just to make sure we get any of that stuff that they've put over the years out. Put some more soil down. We're going to have a green space out there. We're going to have trees and benches, and it's going to be really pretty. It's going to be nice. Add some parking down to downtown. So I'm real excited. I think within about a year you'll see the grass out there.
Okay. Good. So it's going to be a great addition to downtown Jesup. We got the Bland Park that was constructed. You got the new streetscape that went on throughout downtown Jesup, and now this new area that we have requiring from CSX.
Yeah, it's Jesup's really looking good downtown. I really believe that when you enhance that area over there, it's going to cause the Broad Street areas to grow. So you'll see like an extension of the downtown area,
which was Jesup's first main street.
It was
eons ago.
Well, downtown is packed. You can't hardly you go through there. There's no parking.
I blame this all on you, Ralph. You go off and you fix up the Strand Theater and make it look nice. You open up 2 restaurants down there, which you now are leasing out. And next thing you know, downtown Jesup just expands and explodes. It's all your fault, Ralph.
Well, speaking of which, that's what I got some guys right now working. And what my latest thing we're doing is that we're tearing I've done tore all the carpet out of the theater. You know how the floors are when you first walk in, the epoxy floors. We've tore that out. I'm grinding all the concrete down. We're going to put the epoxy all the way into the theaters, including inside the theaters. I'm changing about a third of the seats out for these. Running down the dead middle will be these love seats that will be.
Don't put love seats in a
love
theater
seats, love seats, and they're going to be heated love seats.
Heated love seats.
Yes, they'll have electric neck rest, so you can adjust that. They'll be even nicer than the ones that we already had. Plus, some of the ones I had, we've been so busy over the last 9 years there. Some of the seats were flat wore out, so I'm replacing them out. We're doing a lot of work there. And in addition,
is the theater still open during all this time?
You know me, I'm not going to turn no money away. I just tell you, I'm sorry for
You're going to work around it. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And then the other big thing I made a decision on, the drive-in took a hit in the Hurricane Helene.
It did a big hit, the drive-in.
It did.
Jesup drive-in got a big hit.
$200,000 worth of damages. And, I'll be honest with you, I had really considered it.
We talked about that before when you were on the Butch and Bob show, that you you didn't know what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, I weren't sure, and it's probably worth more as an industrial site. To be honest with you, and do you spend $200,000+ on this? But I it's so much in me, I couldn't not do it. So I'm doing it. We're going to reopen in March. I'm having to replace the projectors. I'm having to all the fences got tore down. The screen was contorted some from the hurricane. The marquee was destroyed. And so all that's getting replaced by the end of this month for the most part. Most of it will be. And we'll be opening in March. I'll make something big to do. You know how I am. I might get a band or something out there. Maybe it's a car show. And we'll
have a big re-grand opening of the Jesup Drive-In in March.
Oh, yeah. And then, like I said, the Strand, I'm rehabbing it some.
You're getting it all fixed up, man.
If you're not getting
putting
better,
the money back into your businesses there, Ralph.
If you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Okay.
So, you got to do. But I hope that.
Well, Ralph, appreciate you coming in. Bob, did he answer your questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, he's always taking the invitation. I do appreciate it. Happy New Year. So, again, just something we got to follow. Like I said, it's going to be on the agenda for the next Tuesday meeting, so we'll follow it, see how it goes. But
you didn't tell me what you thought about Beck going to Miami.
I'm done with Carson Beck.
What gets me is the fact that he's still a student at Georgia. Okay, I guess he is, and he's going on there on social media saying, "Go Canes."
Well, it's just amazing how much money he's going to get going to Miami. Like I said, he's going to make more money going to Miami than he is going to. They're saying that Cam Ward, the current Miami quarterback, is getting shafted. So there's a lot of people upset that he didn't get paid what Beck's going to get paid. So, like I said,
if they paid you $4 million to go play football and be with your girlfriend, would you do it?
Well, he wants. I guarantee his girlfriend. That's where he wants to be.
There's just no loyalty at all.
No loyalty at all.
So you can see clear and clear why Saban got out, why some of these basketball coaches get out. They don't want to deal with this. Because every year it's a new roster. Every year it's a new.
It's like the NFL.
It really is.
It's like the NFL. You don't know who's going to be back.
That's why they say they need a commissioner. They're looking for Saban to become a commissioner of this, so somebody can come in.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea. Put
Saban
in charge of it.
There's got to be some kind of rules, and there's got to be some type of punishment.
They don't even have to finish the season now.
That's what I'm saying. If you want, the biggest joke again is, when's the last time you heard academically ineligible? They're not going to class. They're just not. They're playing football. That's all it is. So
it's professional.
It's to make them sign contracts, make it a professional league. Be done with it.
That's what it is.
It's basically a feeder program.
I mean, if this keeps going,
the NFL.
They're just going to ruin.
As college. It has been, but even more.
They're just going to ruin college football.
Was it Cam Ward? Is that the one that only played the halftime till he got his numbers and then pulled himself out of the game? Wouldn't play.
Played the first half of the bowl game, then came out and said he wasn't going to play the rest of the game. So
what is that?
That's something that It's
Because it's always about the money, so he didn't want to hurt himself. So he made sure he went high in the NFL.
It's all about me. Like I said, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just
you've hit it dead on. It's all about me.
It's a me situation, though. So.
Yeah. There's no team loyalty involved anymore at all.
NIL probably, give them compensating them probably something they need to do, but the system they got right now, where these guys are just in and out. And
how did these play? In the past, you have a person who played the sports at a college, and they'd come back and they'd participate in the alumni situations or in this special event or that special event. They gave money back to the university. What does Beck do now? Does he give as alumni? Does he give back to the University of Georgia, or he's going to do it to Miami? Or if these guys go to 3 or 4 places, they don't have a home college. You have no. You're not alumni of anybody.
He's giving it to his girlfriend. But that's who's getting the money.
What's been this recruitment thing? My son. And what you're seeing is that the days of the recruitment, unless you're a 5-star, the days of recruitment going to college and the college develop you, there's no such as that. They're giving nowhere near as many scholarships to high school kids as they used to, because what you do now is you just go to a small college where you can play, and then you hit the portal and you go from there. Georgia's not picking up 2-star high school players and developing because they might not be there. So you don't waste your money. You put your money. They're putting their money in the portal.
Just got to hope that Georgia and Miami meet next year in a bowl game. That'll be
that would be interesting. Yeah,
that'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
They're dogs.
Ralph Hickox, the mayor of Jesup, our special guest, is born in the world famous Butch and Bob Show. Once again, Ralph, thank you very much for coming in.
You're very welcome.
All right, the world famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup has been brought to you by the Service Department at GNS Auto Sales. Also brought to you by First Southern Bank and Murphy Builder Supply.